ready for another lesson?
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Back Row Banter. We don't need to clap today, Nathaniel. It's okay. I'll figure it out.
Right.
We probably should have clapped.
I was with you,
really
man.
probably should have clapped. You know what? I saw you doing that, and I was like, "Damn it!" I was like, "Damn it!"
Right.
But you know what? That's just problems for post-pod Adam to figure out. You know,
That's
I'll figure it out.
future Adam's problem.
That's future Adam's problem. I'm just focused on the podcast right because I am Adam Schwartz, your host. This is Back Row Banter, your favorite casual movie talk podcast. On today's episode, we have a few news stories. One sad one. No trailer talk today. We'll get our new to streaming, although it is a very slow week. I will be honest up front. It is a very slow week. We'll get to the what we're watching, and our main review for episode 25 is going to be Django Unchained. But before we get to any of that, Nathaniel Gingrich is joining me today. How are you doing, Nathaniel? The Thankful Rev.
The Thankful Rev?
The Thankful Rev. It is November.
It is November.
That's
Yeah,
true.
I like that.
That is true. Yeah, man, I'm beat. I'm tired. Since I got back last week, I've been working every day since then. So it's time for a well-deserved day off tomorrow and big nap time coming. I can feel it. But
Yeah.
I'm excited to be here with the boys talking Django. So
yeah, man, this is something I look forward to every week, man. It's a good little decompressor. Well,
For
I mean, I
sure.
guess we used to do it at the end of the week on Sunday.
Right, but now it starts.
We
the
recently
week, but
been
it usually
doing
gives
Mondays.
you something to look forward to on a Monday because Mondays are usually
Monday and Wednesdays are my class days when I
for sure
class most of the day, or at least I'm doing schoolwork most of the day. But also joining me today is Pumpkin Pie Ty.
What's going on? Give me some pumpkin pie.
Have you had any pumpkin pie yet?
I have not.
I need to get on that.
Well, I guess actually that's not true. There was an early, I think it was actually a late October stop, but I stopped and got McDonald's or something. Oh, it was on Halloween. Lee and I stopped at McDonald's on the way back from the wedding, and I wanted 2 apple pies from McDonald's, and they didn't have apple pies, but I guess they have a pumpkin
They have a pumpkin pie?
Yeah, it's like
Oh,
the
whoa.
strawberry cream one they have.
Oh,
It's
I
a
haven't tried the
pumpkin
strawberry
cream
cream one. I'm aware of the apple pies.
Yeah,
The apple pie.
so there used to be a like strawberry cream one, and now they changed it to apple cream, and it's actually not that bad.
Sounds
Not the
really good.
greatest, but it's not that bad.
Oh, sounds good.
Yeah,
I kind of want to try one now.
you should.
And also joining us tonight is Big Buff Blake.
What's going on, man?
We decided to change the name tonight because Blake's sporting the tank and his trap out, man. And me and Nathaniel couldn't help but mention how just buff he looks today.
So thank you
Sun's out.
guys. I
Not that you
appreciate
don't
it.
look buff every day, Blake. You're just extra buff today.
Right. And I also didn't have any big cat facts today. I've ran out. YouTube only
It's all
has.
good. I was on Nature's Metal earlier this week. They had a big post
that's
about
a
some
good
kind of cat, some kind of leopard. I think it
What
was a
was it?
leopard.
Ooh,
I mean, I
let me
can
see if
find out.
pull it up real quick.
Yeah.
Dude, did you guys see that clip of that lion paralyzing that other lion?
Yeah, dude.
Oh,
Bro,
Wild.
Yeah, I did see
It
that.
was
I was like,
insane.
it's sad. It's like
It's
almost sad
crazy.
to watch. Yeah.
crazy.
where was this was
Is it
this
the
one
one
right
with the
here.
leopard crawling on the
It says-
tree? Yeah.
it says Knives Out. Yeah.
So
I
I would
was
say
reading-
that picture alone is why I think any cat's going to beat any canine, as long as they're of comparable size.
For sure, man. Cats are killers.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
But yeah,
They
outside-
really are. They really are just
Yeah,
made
man,
for
so-
killing, man.
for sure.
It's crazy.
They're weird, man.
Crazy.
But everything's good on this side for the most part.
Yeah,
pretty,
man. How was your
pretty
easy
long
week? Long week?
No, I had a pretty long week. But I mean, I guess the holidays are kind of right around the corner for the most
Yeah.
part. So that's something to look forward to.
It is. It is.
Yeah, that's about it for me, man. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Another long week, busy as usual. But I actually got to got it to sit down and watch some things this week, which was nice. Kind of planned out my time a little bit better this past week. Was able to knock some schoolwork out early and then relax a little
For
bit
sure.
more than usual at night, and was able to get some things going on the big old OLED right up there. So
Nice.
Heyo.
Hey yo. Well,
Weren't you
let's
in
get
the
in.
weren't you and the boys playing some games?
We were
Did I
playing some
did I
games.
see that? Yeah, I did see that. I
Yeah.
thought I saw it.
You know what? I'll save that for what we're watching. Why don't we save
Yeah,
that?
that's
Yeah.
cool.
I'll write that down. Make sure I don't forget. But yeah, let's get in the show here, guys. We got 2 news stories for you today. First one, not so happy. Alex Trebek, admired host of Jeopardy, dies at age 80. Man,
Rest in peace.
2020, man, just fucking kicking us and
Yeah,
kicking
it's
us.
worse, dude.
and
Not
kicking us.
wrong, bro.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, this one sucks. I mean,
This one
we
really,
all
yeah.
we all kind of knew it was coming. He had pancreatic cancer. Anytime anyone tells you about pancreatic cancer, that is like one of the highest mortality cancers that there is. So when it kind of came out that he had that, he put up a good long fight. 80s,
did.
a good innings. And
Absolutely.
he did it with, style and grace, just as he did everything in life, pretty much, it seems like. So
Absolutely.
for sure,
And
it's
in-
going to be missed.
Yeah. And in the article that I will have linked in the description from the Hollywood Reporter, they said he died at home with family and friends around him and everything like that. And I think we've said that before on the show with Chadwick Boseman, I believe was the same
Yeah, I think you're
situation.
right.
If there's a way to go, that's probably one of the better ways too. So
Seems like
very
it.
sad. Very interested to see where Jeopardy goes in the future. Right now, they've said they're not ready to say anything about a new host. I think they've confirmed it is going to come back eventually. But who they decide is not even. It's not even been being talked about right now. We're still kind of dealing with the loss.
I bet they've got
I'm
someone
sure
in
they are.
mind. Yeah,
I'm sure
but
they
yeah,
are.
they're not gonna just come out right now. That'd be crass. But yeah, I'm sure that this has
Exactly.
been planned since basically he had cancer. I'm sure they've had
Sure.
contingency plans
Sure.
or something. So
Yeah.
but hopefully they get someone equally as awesome. Though that would be
For
a
sure.
tough
Let's
task
hope.
for sure.
Let's hope. Yeah, it'll be a very tough task, but show must go on.
I'm available, Jeopardy, if you need me.
I think we're all available. I would take
I
that
think you
job in a
kill it,
heartbeat.
to be honest with you, man.
Yeah. Oh,
Thanks,
and
man.
I think you
Nathaniel.
go out there and do
Yeah,
great.
I think you do a good job.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate that.
Well, moving on from that, because there's no easy way to transition. Johnny Depp forced out of Fantastic Beasts franchise as Warner Bros. Is set to recast his role. So Johnny Depp was asked to resign from his role as
Gillert Grindelwald.
he played Grindelwald. That's right. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I didn't read the article. Is that due to all the allegations and stuff with Amber Heard and
Yes.
yeah.
So that's due to all of his the allegations with his ex-wife, which is being he has taken to court because there have been, I guess, things
It's
said by
messy.
his wife. Yeah, things said by his wife that he has disputed and said is basically defamation. And then there was a UK article from The Sun that really went in on him. And he's suing them for libel in the UK. That the judge there denied the case or dismissed the case, and he's appealing that even further. So
And that seems to be kind of what was the last straw on this thing
Yes.
so far, because this news dropped pretty soon after that. But
Mhm.
I don't think we're going to make any sort of kind of judgment calls on this one, because this seems to be like an absolutely incendiary, insane relationship on both parts. So I'm just going to say it's very, very messy. But big point is Fantastic Beasts is losing Johnny Depp, which to me, he's a good actor. I thought he was actually way better in the second one than I was expecting him to be. But I almost would have just preferred Colin Farrell from the first. Like, because have you guys seen Fantastic Beasts either?
I haven't seen
anyone?
any of them actually.
I've
Okay.
seen the first one only.
All right. Well,
I
spoilers
love
for-
Harry Potter. I just haven't gotten around to seeing these ones.
Do you
Oh, go ahead and
Do you
spoil.
want me to go on that? Okay. So spoilers for a 3-year-old movie, but in the first Fantastic Beasts, Colin Farrell plays the bad guy, and then in the last few minutes of the film, it's revealed that he has been using the Polyjuice potion and is actually Johnny Depp. But if I was doing this, I would just go back and get Colin Farrell again, see if you can use him when he's not doing Batman or something, because he was great. So be very, very interesting moving forward. How
Yeah, I'll
this
see.
kind of goes.
Interested to see what they'll do for the recast, or we'll see. I mean, Nathaniel, should I give these a watch? Or is this worth it?
I like it. I was a huge Potter fan.
Yeah, I still am, man. I
Yeah.
just ordered a pair of like Harry Potter MeUndies for my
Oh, there you
subscription
go.
service. Yeah, they have a Harry Potter series, so I just ordered a set of Ravenclaw.
Dope.
That's my house. Yeah.
But yeah, it's I think they're fun for sure. It's it's not the main story, and it never was, but it's an interesting take on it. It broadens up the world a little bit, makes it a little bit more interesting. So
Mhm.
I'd say they're worth a watch.
Sure. Maybe I'll check them out. I'm assuming they'll come to. Oh, actually, I was gonna say come to HBO Max, but the Harry Potter's just left HBO Max for Peacock. So maybe
Oh,
they'll come
really?
to Peacock.
Hmm.
Yeah, the Harry Potters are off HBO Max. They're going to NBC. They paid a lot of money for them.
Oh, well,
Because
good for them.
I
I
can
assume,
imagine, especially
yeah,
right around the holidays.
yeah, sure, yeah. So those will probably come to Peacock as well. We'll see. We'll see. All right, well, moving on. No trailer talk this week.
Wah, wah.
Wah, yeah. Go check out that Halloween Kills teaser because it's worthy mentioning. It was really good. I'm excited. Can't
Me
wait.
too.
All right. Well, I guess we'll get to the new streaming for the week of November 8th through the 16th, I believe it is.
Yep.
Netflix.
What's Netflix got for us?
Yeah, absolutely nothing. At least that I saw from the list that was given. Nothing worth really checking out. There's some Netflix
Right.
originals. Amazon Prime has Community seasons 1 through 6, which is currently on Netflix because I've been watching an episode or two here and there for the past couple weeks.
I'm not even familiar with that. What is that?
Community?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's that's one of the I always associate The Office, Parks and Rec, and Community together.
Yep.
They're like
fair.
the three NBC kind of sitcoms
Okay.
almost.
But yeah, Community
This
is definitely the most different out of the other.
Community is
Yeah,
probably
I've never even heard of that before.
100%.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
the kind of core premise is that a hotshot lawyer who's played by Joel McHale from like The Soup. If
Okay.
you remember that back in the day,
Okay.
he loses his lawyer license because it was from Columbia. Turns out it was the country of Columbia, not the actual college. And then he has to go back and basically re-earn his college degree. And he goes to a community college that's just full of just wacky characters and stuff. But
Gotcha.
it's
Donald Glover's in it.
yeah,
Isn't
Donald Glover.
Childish Gambino.
Pre or during the Childish Gambino days.
That's how I know
Okay.
him. Every
Was
time,
starting out
anytime
there.
after Community that I've seen him in something, I've
Yeah,
always
you think
associated with
Troy?
him as Troy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean now not as much, but when he first
Right,
started
right, right,
breaking
right.
out a little bit more, probably like 2015,
Yeah.
is when I was like, that's like Troy from Community, man. He's like,
Yeah.
pretty popular.
Allison Bree's in it too.
Allison Brie,
Chevy
Chevy
Chase in one of the
Chase.
last
Yeah, Chevy
good
Chase is in it.
he did.
What's her face? She's in a lot of stuff. I can't remember her name. The black lady.
Oh, on the show?
Yes. Man, what is her name?
What's her name on the show?
It's
Yvette
like Yvette
Nicole Brown.
Yvette
Yeah.
Nicole Brown. Yeah.
Shirley.
I like her a lot actually. She's pretty funny.
She's really good in that as well. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's a very, very funny show. It plays with a lot of film tropes as well,
Mhm.
which is kind of smart. It's where the guys that directed the Russo brothers actually
The Russo brothers. I recently rewatched with my girlfriend the paintball episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
They're
one of
so
the best
good.
episodes. But,
Yeah,
so
I
the
haven't seen any
directors-
of this, man. I think this might be something at least interesting for like a late night joint. You know what I mean?
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah,
It's
you
a
guys
put
got
on
me
before
sold,
you go
man.
to bed. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
exactly what it is. I would
yeah.
say seasons 1 through 4 are generally considered the better ones. There's a 1 through 3. Because after, I think it's 1 through 3. Maybe it's 1
Yes.
through 4.
And then it went somewhere else. Or no,
Because it was on
fourth season-
NBC. Go ahead.
The fourth season, the director or the writer was basically asked to leave,
Mm.
and then the show was not as good. He came back for the fifth season. The fifth season was where they were going to end it, and then the show was then picked up by Yahoo in one of the weird times that Yahoo was trying to become a streaming service, and they did a sixth season for it. So there's like this weird kind of like continuity flow throughout the whole thing, but definitely very, very funny. King Jong's in it too, Senor
Yep.
Chang.
Okay.
Sorry, Shane.
Yeah.
John Oliver's in it actually.
Oh yeah, that's right. He is.
Yeah, he plays a professor.
Yeah, he's the psychology professor. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a show I watched a lot in college. It cracked me up.
Yeah, it's still got some good laughs in there. It still does. As I've revisited a few episodes here and there.
Yeah, if you
To
do nothing
Hulu.
else, Blake, watch the paintball episode. Like
Yes.
that's worth it alone.
So there are
Outstanding. That's their classic.
there are 3 paintball episodes that are directed by the Russo. Well, the first one is. Are the
Yeah.
the second 2, are they also directed by the
They
Russo
all
brothers?
are. Yeah.
Okay. So the people who directed the second half of like the Avengers saga. So from Civil War on, really, the Russo brothers, you know, I'm assuming,
Mhm.
but they directed 2 paintball episodes in there, and you can tell that they shot them. If you kind of compare them to some of the shots in Avengers and stuff, you can really tell
Right. For
that
guys
they're
like
the
us,
ones
we'll be
directing.
able to tell.
Yeah, I was watching it, I was like, this looks like it'd be straight out of an Avengers movie. Yeah, they're pretty good. I would recommend at least putting on a few episodes, checking them out at night.
For sure.
They're on Netflix. I don't know how long. I don't know if they're gonna stay on Netflix because they were just on there. But I'm Amazon Prime, and you've got it as well, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Well, that's really all the notable things coming to Amazon Prime. Hulu is getting I Am Greta, a Hulu original documentary featuring or covering Greta Thunberg, the international teenage climate activist. This is actually one I'm thinking about checking out because, like I've been saying for it feels like months at this point on the podcast, but I'm trying to get more back into documentaries. And this is a subject I'd be really interested to check out.
Well, we watched one of my favorites this week, so beat towards what we
Ooh,
watched.
Blackfish.
Yes.
I knew it. That's really going to be good on Hulu. Going to be coming on Hulu. HBO Max hasn't really got anything, and then Disney Plus you're going to have Mandalorian Chapter 11, so the 3rd episode in season 2. All right, well that's all we have for the new to streaming for this week. What we're watching, Nathaniel, why don't you start us off here, man?
I gotta remember it all. I think we've been like kind of watching a bunch of random stuff. We had definitely
That's why I write mine down.
Mandalorian for Tyler and I as well, which we'll talk about at a later date once you're caught up, Adam. Because
you guys can, I'm sure some of the viewers have been watching, so why don't you guys talk about it a little bit? Are you guys liking it so far? I've heard good things.
Yes, I think it's been interesting going forward to see they're filling in a lot of gaps that as a Star Wars fan I didn't know about, but I also find like really interesting.
Okay.
Having not seen like Rebels or much of Clone
Wars.
Wars or something like that. I've seen some of Clone Wars, not all of it. So they're things that may have been like talked about or visited during those, but other times it's been interesting to see like again, they're kind of exploring areas and answering some questions that I didn't even know I had. So that was kind of cool. The writing, I think I'm going to have to wait until the end of the season to see how I feel about the writing in these early episodes. It's felt a little just disjointed at times. And they've made some choices that I don't necessarily agree with from a writing standpoint. So, but I do want to see how they play out at the end. But yeah, overall, like I think I was really burnt after the last one and just kind of the whole world's reaction to the sequel trilogy and how like political it's become and Star Wars has become in general. I was surprised how much I enjoyed having the Mandalorian back though and kind of like back into that world in that way. So
yeah, because we didn't really get much Star Wars content from last season of Mandalorian to this season. It ended. You could say obviously the Rise of Skywalker came out at last year, right? So you have that, but I think since Disney's acquired Star Wars, we're used to so much Star Wars that 2020 has been very absent of that, and so it's kind of strange having Star Wars back.
Yeah, I think it's a smart move on their part, though.
Oh, I agree.
They kind of read the room, realized there was a little bit of Star Wars fatigue going on. So smart on their part. You know, Disney, they're kind of good at that kind of thing. So, yeah, so that's been cool watching forward. We did watch Blackfish as well, which is one
that's
of
your
my
favorite doc, you said, right?
Yeah, it's one of them, if not my favorite.
What's the premise of that one?
So it's all about SeaWorld and like it basically traces one of the whales that they use in their orca shows and kind of like how it all went wrong for them in some ways. So it's really, really fascinating, I think, for me, almost it's almost like a crime thriller in some ways too. Like it gets really interesting. the further on you go into it and stuff. So yeah, that was one. What else did we watch, Ty? I know we watched Django, obviously.
We did Blood of Zeus a little bit more.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's been interesting as well. Did we even talk about that so far on the podcast?
I
I
feel like
think
you
we
guys
brought
have.
it up. Yeah, I thought we brought it
Yeah.
up last week because that's when we
Okay.
started it, and I think I described just the style of anime that it is, 'cause it's not like your typical style, but it's not like the 3D style that I was talking about with Dragon's Dogma.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's been really great so far. I definitely want to watch more. It's very captivating in my mind, and it's really, really good.
Yeah, kind of an
Um,
interesting take on Greek mythology because they seem to be using like their god powers seemed more tech based in some ways.
did
Like
you? Yeah, 100%. Did you ever see Immortals?
yes,
So it feels very like that.
yeah, I would say
Um,
in some
I don't
ways.
know if you guys ever saw that either, but
I have not.
the
Mm-mm,
gods are
never.
very involved
Yeah, they're
in
just
kind
like
of the
chilling on a
everyday
mountain.
man. Yeah, and they do a really good job of that. Um, so yeah, I think they probably took some things from there, and you could see that if you ever go back and watch that movie, the characters that they match up with are very similar in
Mhm.
like costume and probably age and like what they are. I'm actually really happy with that. Hermes is a badass, and they don't make him like some little like twig thing. Because he
Yeah,
basically reminds me of the Flash, which is awesome.
yeah, he's like a Flash with he's like the Flash with a sword. Like,
Yeah. So
which is
yeah,
terrifying.
it's been really, really
It is
fun.
terrifying.
Leah and I have been trying to carry on with the boys. So Nathaniel's just been kind of in the background during that. Obviously the Mando, which we already brought up. I'm a really big Star Wars fan. If you haven't watched Rebels or Clone Wars, please do yourself a favor because they are absolutely incredible and they answer so many more questions than what you probably even thought you were thinking of, like Nathaniel said. Um, I think with Mando, it's been really cool. I think the budget increase has been awesome. You can definitely see that they're getting a lot more detailed with characters. Some of the costumes in the first one, we said that they weren't all that great. There definitely could have been some time spent on them. But like the frog lady in episode 2 is way
Yeah.
better. They actually have like the moving like nodes on her head, which is really cool. And yeah, so I think they're starting to do a better job. Along with the writing, I think Nathaniel and I talked, and it's just a little bit more loose.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
definitely
it's
been interesting.
yeah.
Is it
So it's
John Favreau still writing? Because he wrote the
Yeah,
majority of the first
yeah,
season, right?
he's
but
at
I
least
also feel
writing.
like he's given basically everybody who's in an episode like just he's like, yeah, I kind of want you to see what I wrote, and then I kind of want you to play around with it a little bit. Um,
Yeah, because the Skywalker trilogy is so scripted and so
100%.
like, and George Lucas was famous for being like, you have to say the dialogue like this, and you have to do like that. That's really how he chose the big three of Luke, Han, and Leia, is their ability to say his dialogue and correctly, and how they also interacted with one another. So kind of a weird fact on original Star Wars is if one of them couldn't do it, he had like another three people set up, so he wouldn't just like swap out one person. It would be like a whole different three actors on there. But this one, it feels like it's just not as much of a space opera anymore, which I like because it opens up the world a little bit more. It's not always, every episode doesn't have to end with us staring off at the two suns on the sunset and contemplating our place in the universe. It's okay to have like this kind of weird, grimy,
It makes it
crazy
smaller.
galaxy. Yeah,
Mhm.
this
Yeah.
crazy galaxy that you get to explore more. So that's been fun for sure.
And the second episode was actually more humorous than past episodes have been, so I've been pretty pleased with that.
Yeah,
Um,
I'll be excited to talk about that more when we kind of talk about
yeah.
that a little bit more. It's a very interesting mix of genres.
It really is. So yeah, I think I think everybody's really interested to see where that will go by the end of the second season. And then Leah has been like begging me to watch Friends, and
Oh
I
no!
am not.
Oh no!
I'm not a Friends advocate. I've never watched like a single episode all the way through. I just don't care for it. But a while back, I was like, yeah, we'll watch it. We went on Netflix, and it was the day they took it off is when I decided to say that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they took it off,
So
didn't they?
I'm like, come on, that's a sign. So then we just kind of forgot about it because there was like really nowhere to find it, and then HBO just picked it up.
Oh, okay. Did you start it then?
So yeah, we started it. I think we got through like 3 or 4 episodes, and I can't say that I'm completely out, but I'm not 100% bought in. But I'm definitely more in than what I was before I watched.
Look, with my experience with Friends, which mainly comes from me
The show
watching
or people?
episodes, both. No, I'm just kidding. The show mainly comes from my sister always watching it. She's seen every single episode all the way through, the entire series all the way through, probably like 5 times.
Right.
So that show was always on at my house. And Ty, it doesn't get better, man. If you're not sold now, you're not going to be sold later. It's the same thing.
I heard it does get better.
It's, from my experience, it never does.
I definitely still have to
episode-
give it a chance. And plus,
Yeah.
I'm very similar. I have 4 little sisters, and one of them is an absolute Friends fanatic. Like that's like her, like How I Met Your Mother or like New Girl.
Right.
And she's younger than me, so it's really crazy that she loves it so much. But yeah, so I haven't talked to her about it yet either, so I'm very surprised to see what she's gonna tell me because she's like obsessed.
I like
wish
Friends.
you, I wish you the best
I don't
of luck,
have any
friend.
input on that.
Thank
I mean,
you.
I think I've seen maybe 1 or 2 episodes, like sporadically, like while being somewhere. But I've never watched it. But you have to say that for a grain of salt. I'm an African American male. You know what I mean? So that's probably the whole reason why I've never seen Friends. But I know what it is because that's the one with like Jennifer Aniston. It's got all those people in it, right?
Yep.
That's like the
Yeah, I
first
mean, that's where most
version.
people know her from.
And no African American males.
0.
Absolutely.
Oh man, yeah. Best of luck to you, Ty, because
Thank
I
you.
can't. I can't do it with Friends.
Yeah, we'll see how it turns out.
We will. Is that all? Is that all you watched this week, Ty?
I'm pretty
toss it on
sure
over to
that's all
Blake?
I got. Yeah, let's
All right,
let's hit
Blake.
up
What you been up to,
Big
man?
Buff Blake.
I honestly didn't watch much this week, man. I actually turned on Netflix for the first time in a while, just kind of browsing through, and they had the Chappelle Show on there.
Oh yeah, they just added that. I've been seeing it on there too.
Yeah, so I watched a few episodes of that. And I didn't even really go through like season by season. I just kind of went to the episodes I found, like I remember finding funny, just kind of for a quick late night laugh right before I went to sleep. So I ended up watching that. Obviously that's a pretty funny show if anyone's seen any of those. That's probably early 2000s, maybe 2001.
I believe is
Yeah,
when it
really?
ended, at least.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I think there's 3 or 4 seasons.
I just remember the date on Netflix saying 2006 because they always
Gotcha.
put the year. But I'm pretty sure they usually put the year when it either started or ended.
Yeah,
don't
that's
know
probably
which
the last season, if I could remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I ended up watching that, and then outside of that, on a serious note, though, the only film I did sit down and watch, I did rewatch The Invisible Man.
Okay. The 2021, I'm assuming.
Yeah, and that's really good.
Yeah.
So I actually caught that in theaters. That was the last movie I saw in theaters until we saw it. Actually, until they reopened.
That was actually one of the movies I saw on VOD.
Really?
Once quarantine started. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because I think that's one of the first ones they brought to VOD, right? Because that got released maybe late February.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So I ended up seeing that release weekend and having to rewatch it since then. Obviously it's on HBO Max now, but yeah, that's still good, man.
Yeah, it was solid.
She's a great actress.
That might be the best movie that's been released this year in theaters.
Honestly,
man. And I was rewatching
yeah.
it really might be. This might be the movie of the year in terms of being a theatrical release.
I like that movie more than I like Tenet.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I don't know if that's controversial or not, but
I honestly don't think it is. I think you would get most people to agree with you.
The vast majority, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone who's come across The Invisible Man and wasn't pleased,
Yeah.
Granted, maybe I went in with kind of lower expectations originally. And then I was just kind of blown away. But yeah, so Elizabeth Moss, she does great in that. It's got Oliver Jackson Cohen. He's in there. Some people probably know him from The Haunting of Hill House and Bly Manor. He's in a few other films as well. But yeah, that's really good, man. I can't talk about that one enough.
That's Lee Winnell, who horror heads would know from Saw, obviously, and the Conjuring franchise, and his longtime writing partner of James Wan. Directed, I think, the third Insidious movie on his own, and then also did Upgrade, which is a really good film as well. If you,
I like Upgrade a lot.
Yeah, it's the better Venom.
Yeah,
that's what everyone says. That's what everyone says.
Yeah, so glad to see he kind of returned to his roots with that one. No, it knows exactly what it is. It's just a lean and mean movie.
And I mean, they even do some things with some camera work on there, right? Where it's just really good, man. They'll have the camera set up in places where it's either over the shoulder of a character or something, and obviously it's put in a weird way where the person's invisible. You can't see them anyways, right? But you're looking to see if you can see them, you know? It's that movie's really good. Even on rewatch, I was like, this definitely stands up. And I think Adam hit on the head. That's probably one of the better movies to release this year. Yeah, so Universal seems to be moving more that way, partnering with Winnell a little bit more and kind of taking over those old school monsters, like your I think they're trying to do like a Dracula as well, right?
They're doing the Dark Cinematic Universe or something like that, right?
Well, that was the original plan when they did the 2017 Mummy. Was
the Mummy one, right? Yeah, and that just
horrible
blows.
Yeah.
I sort of like it, but I understand why everyone else hates it. Like, I admire the sheer bull of it. Like, it's such a strange film for me. But yeah, I think this is the right direction for them. They give it to these guys, give it to Blumhouse. Like, let them make these guys scary again. They can clearly do it, and
for sure,
and turn out good stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I'm with you on that. So yeah, that's the only thing I got to. Listeners, I like I said, if you haven't checked that out, I would recommend it. I think that's one that's either good if you're watching by yourself or if you're watching with another person.
Yeah,
I think you'll be pleased with that one. It's on HBO Max. But that takes the cake for me. What did you get into? I mean, you probably watched a handful more things than I did. So
yeah. Like I said, I had some more time this week than I usually do. And I also kind of threw on some movies while I was doing other stuff. But continued with The Queen's Gambit, the Netflix original series about that chess player that I brought up last week. I believe I'm episode. I think I've finished 3 and I'm on 4.
Okay.
So not a ton of progress there, but a little bit. Still really good. Still liking it. I talked about last week how she was a child for a little bit. She's now closer to her age as I get to episode 4. I don't think she's fully full grown. It's supposed to be full grown yet. She's still a little bit early on in her career or whatever. But still pretty good. The writing a little whack, but it's a Netflix show. I think that's kind of what I expected. But there are some really out of place lines, some really straightforward and awkward writing that really sticks out to me. But I can't be too mad at because the rest of the show is still pretty good. And it's a Netflix show, so that's kind of bound to happen, I think. Also got into John Wick last night. Threw that on there. I had the first one, yes. I had 2 first watchers with me as I watched it. First time watching.
What did they take away from that?
They loved it. Both of them were reacting as I wanted to react, and they were both like, "Damn, John Wick's a badass," and I was like, "Yeah, man, yeah." So that was fun. I love that movie. That's my favorite of the 3. I think they want to go and watch 2 and 3 after watching 1, which I have on DVD. So I'll report back if we do watch 2 and 3. Got to.
Were they guys?
One of them was my girlfriend. The other one was a guy.
All right. I guess your girlfriend can understand, but I honestly don't think I've met a male that was like
that hasn't seen John Wick.
That is like. Yeah, I haven't seen John Wick.
Yeah. He was super into
At least not the first one. I could see if you haven't seen all 3.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you just like, I've never seen it, and I was like, well, that's about to change.
Yeah.
Fucking Noah.
It was not Noah. It was not Noah. I think Noah has seen the John Wicks. I think I've brought it up before. also watched The Other Guys for the first time, actually.
What? What did you think of that? Because I love that movie.
That was great. It was
All
really
right.
good. It was
All right.
really, really good. Loved it.
Good.
I mean, it's a comedy, so there's not too much to say there.
Right.
But it's on Netflix now, and I've been wanting to watch it for a while, and finally got around to it. So
Aim for the bushes.
aim for the bushes. And then last movie that I watched is Easy A with Emma Stone.
Great movie.
Yeah, a bit of a chick flick.
I actually thoroughly enjoy that movie. That's a funny movie. Or anytime
It
it's on
wasn't-
cable, I'll watch it.
It wasn't
Yeah.
bad. It wasn't bad. I
it's a great
enjoyed
movie.
my time with it for what it was.
Oddly enough, not to cut you off, I always, in hindsight, I always get that movie mixed up with Bad Teacher, and with Justin Timberlake, and I think is that Cameron Diaz.
I think it is Cameron Diaz.
I believe, yeah. I
haven't
get
seen
those
that
two
movie, but
movies
I know
mixed
what you're
up
talking about. Yeah.
every time, man.
Easy A has Stanley Tucci. That's the easy divider
Yep.
there.
Yeah.
movie's
But yeah, what'd
awesome.
you think of Easy A? That's funny.
I liked
like
it,
that
yeah.
for a chick flick for sure.
Like I said, yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely a chick flick. And my girlfriend put it on, so you can understand why it's wasn't my first choice, but I
Yeah.
still liked it. You know, it was fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Emma Stone's great, so
Mhm.
can't be mad there.
Yeah, no, she kills that. I mean, I think after that, that's probably after the first Zombieland. If I
Zombieland,
dates off the top of my head.
man,
The first Zombieland, I
they're
think
very close. I just don't know which one came first.
maybe
Zombieland,
08.
Zombieland's 2009. It's looking like 2009. Easy A
Easy A
was, I believe,
08.
Almost said
20.
it. Bad
Oh.
Teacher. Easy A.
Is it?
I
No,
think
Easy
A
A is 2010. I was about to say it's
Yeah.
2010.
2010.
So Zombieland came first.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's more when she started to break out even more.
For
around
sure.
that time.
For sure.
Yeah. And then the last thing that isn't something I watched, but something Tyler alluded to earlier that I might as well mention is we've been getting the zombies, Call of Duty zombies, on my TV in the past week or two.
Mm.
Me and a bunch of buddies have been just running zombies like the good old days, because I've been playing Call of Duty Zombies since
that's
World at War
fun.
when they first started. Yeah, because I have the 55-inch OLED up here, and the only one that you can do four-player split screen with is Black Ops 2, though. So that's what we've been restricted to, and we have 4
Ooh.
people. But even then, me and my roommate, we got to round 32.
Yeah, I remember those days.
Yeah, 32 on Der Riese and Black Ops 1.
Is Black Ops 2, is that the one where you ride around on the bus?
That's the original map. Yeah, the DLC
yeah.
maps are actually pretty good, but yeah, that's
Okay.
that's that one
For sure,
The
for sure.
transit is that map.
Mm-hmm.
But I love zombies, man. It's been great playing some classic zombies, just like it.
Zombies used to be a good time, man.
It still is, man. It still is.
I don't even know the
I
last
think
time I
that's
played
one thing that
zombies.
I'm excited probably for Cold War.
Yeah, now that I've been playing it more
so
recently.
they're throwing that in the new one?
Yeah.
They still do
Yeah.
them. They still do them. It's just not the same. I would say Black Ops 2 is when they started doing this, but Black Ops 3 is when they full on went this. But they started making it more about the Easter eggs and doing all these tasks and maps and stuff. And it's really hard to do all that stuff without looking it up. And for me, that was just never fun. So I've always
it's
stuck to more
ridiculous.
classic zombies. Yeah, I've always stuck to more classic zombies, where it's just how long can you survive?
How long can I stay alive? Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I've got some younger kids in the house, that love these newer zombies, but I'm an old soul.
Well, it's much appreciated.
Well, I know, like I said, I've played COD since I was 7. And played
Yeah.
World at War when I played the original zombies. I remember beating the World at War campaign, so I could unlock Nocturne on Toten, the very first one.
That sounds right.
Yep. And I remember
That's crazy. I haven't heard any of those words in so long.
Yep.
Like,
Oh, I could
instantly,
keep
like,
going,
goes
man.
right back in my
I could
brain,
keep
yeah.
going. You got Nocturne on Toten, you got Verrucht, Der Riese, Shangri-La, you got Shinunuma. Oh man, keep going.
Yeah. What were the guns you had in that? I mean, that's when you had that PPSH.
All right. Well,
Is that in
PPSH
there?
was World at War.
Yeah.
That was PPSH
Thompson.
was the sub, the Thompson. You had the
that's
Browning and the
Type 100
MG42.
or Type 101, something like that.
Type 100.
100, yeah.
The STG. This is all World at War. And then you had the Wonder Waffle and the ray gun, of course.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna go on a large tangent.
Yeah.
About
We could go on for
Yeah,
days. So we'll cut this off and we'll spare the listeners who aren't COD zombies aficionados.
Fair
Thank
enough.
you.
And instead, we will move into our review segment.
Tarantino, man.
Tarantino, the first Tarantino movie we have reviewed so far on the podcast. It's Django Unchained. From what year is this? 2012?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. 2012.
Christmas.
Nathaniel, for those
Mhm.
of you listening that have, for the listeners who have not joined us before for our review segment, can you please give them a rundown of it?
Yes, I sure can. So how this is going to work, folks,
Absolutely not.
is we're going to talk at you, and we're going to talk. We're going to talk a little to each other a little bit too, and you're going to listen. But beyond that, what we're going to we'll do the IMDb plot summary. They traditionally are very, very short, sweet, to the point. We'll kind of break down the film a little bit. Talks about actors, talk about the director a little bit. At that point, we'll go into a non-spoiler plot summary, give our kind of first reactions, what our initial thoughts are, that kind of thing. From then on, we'll make a recommendation. Would we recommend the viewers or listeners watch? Yes or no has to be binary because there's no nuance on the internet. After that, we're going to spoil the hell out of this thing. We give away any sort of plot twists or anything like that. So if you have not seen the movie and still want to, get out by that time. And we'll go in a little bit deeper into the film after that. And then we'll welcome back those listeners that have not seen the movie, and we'll see where it ranks on the Entropy list.
Sounds
Fair
good. Yeah. Well, why don't you give our listeners here the IMDb summary of Django Unchained?
I will as soon as I bring it up. So this is Django Unchained. As you said, it is from 2012, right on Christmas Day 2012. But the summary goes like this. With the help of a German bounty hunter, a freed slave sets out to rescue his wife from a brutal Mississippi plantation owner. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah,
So if
that's
you
really
haven't
good.
seen the movie, you know how you don't have to.
Yeah, stretched across 3 hours. Is that
You know-
one sentence?
As
245.
as short as the
Fair,
IMDb summaries are.
245.
As short as these IMDb summaries are, and as much shit as we give them sometimes, they're actually pretty good sometimes.
Yeah,
That one was pretty good, especially for one sentence. I don't think I could do that in one sentence. That was good.
True. It's
Yeah.
true. It's an art form, folks.
It is. It really is.
So this is written and directed by Quentin Tarantino. I'm sure if you're listening to this, you've heard of him before.
Mhm.
Pretty famous in the film world, pretty famous with a lot of college freshmen.
I'm a sophomore.
But yeah, he's got that kind of exploitation style on lockdown. If you've ever come across a Tarantino film, they're not quite like anything else that you've ever seen. They definitely have
No.
a distinct style.
Yeah,
He's
for
one of
sure.
those directors who stands up to the name auteur, and is really his own kind of man and a one-man cinema force in some ways. But casting wise, you got Jamie Foxx as the titular Django. Christoph Waltz is playing Dr. King Schultz, who is a dentist turned bounty hunter. And then Leonardo DiCaprio rounds out the main cast as what is it? I know it's Candy. What's his name? Calvin Candy.
Calvin Candy.
As that plantation owner that we were talking about in the summary earlier. And you got your old Tarantino mainstays, your Samuel L. Jackson, your James Remar, some of those guys that he works with pretty consistently as well too. So kind of know what you're in for there. But yeah, obviously, I think we've all seen this before, correct?
This is my first time. I'm embarrassed to say it. I'm embarrassed to say it, but
Are
I'm
you
not
serious?
gonna lie.
actually
This
like it,
was my
though.
first time.
Whoa!
I didn't know
yeah,
that. I thought we were all going into this with seeing it before.
No, man.
That's a
Yeah,
game
I was gonna
changer.
say,
Is this your
This-
first
this-
Tarantino film? By
Oh
chance?
no! By no
Okay.
means, this is my first Tarantino film. No, I got Inglourious Basterds is on my top 10.
Okay. Yep. I do remember.
Yeah,
that.
remember I famously thought Eli Roth was Spock.
Yes.
Ah,
Mhm.
That was a funny joke for like 5
roll
weeks.
back.
Yeah,
If you know,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah, go back to episode 1, man.
Early
I guess that was
Back Row
episode
lore.
2. I guess that was episode 2.
Early
But,
Back Row lore.
Yeah, this is my first time, so I guess I'll go ahead. But I absolutely love this film. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
for sure.
I mean, yeah. This is great. This lived up to the hype again. Great writing. I mean, probably what Tarantino is known best for is his writing.
Mhm.
And this is just him back at it again. Great story. I thought, I really liked it. Great acting too.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't know. There's not too much more you can say about this without getting into it, but just all around incredible.
Yeah. I'll follow up with them. I mean, I've seen it a few times. Yeah, I love this movie, man. It's funny. Tarantino has great action, as we're all aware of that. So you're getting that. Some of the dialogue is really good. Um, and then you just got a star-studded cast. I mean, even having Samuel Jackson in there, I think he's a very underrated role in this. He's probably my favorite character. I mean, you hate him so much, but he's just a great character to watch. It's like he steals the show. But yeah, I love this movie. Can't say it enough. I'd recommend for sure. It looks like Adam recommend as well.
Oh yeah, I probably should have
Um,
said that, but yes, this is a recommend.
right. Yeah. So it'll probably be recommends all around. I would hope so.
It's on Netflix, so you have no reason not to watch it. Almost everybody's gonna have access to Netflix. So.
Absolutely. What about you, Ty?
Yeah, I'm like way in on this. I think the biggest thing for me is probably Christoph Waltz. He's
Mhm.
probably been one of like my favorite actors for a while. He's just been in so much that I love, and everything that he does I love. He's almost kind of like a um casted for that role every single time.
Mhm.
Sometimes you get the idea that he's basically just doing the same character every now and then. But he's just so good at it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know a lot of people. I was telling Nathaniel after we watched it, but like Green Hornet, terrible movie. But I still love Christoph Waltz. He's in Inglourious Basterds, which again is just a masterpiece.
Right.
He's in Alita Battle Angel too.
Spectre, yep, and then Alita Battle Angel, which is on my top 10. So yeah,
Obviously,
I'm
Water for Elephants, everyone's favorite Robert Pattinson, Reese Witherspoon joint.
So yeah, I'm a really big fan. The movie overall is incredible. Nathaniel and I found mutual love for this movie when one of us quoted it, and then we constantly quote this movie fairly well.
This movie
Um
does have a ton of quotables, though.
It's so good.
Yeah,
And
I'll give you that.
I think the action that Tarantino brings on a regular basis is a little bit more realistic for this style and for this time period. Guns used to be so brutal, dude. They would
Mhm.
just they're little metal balls and they're so crude and they were so early. I mean, they tore people apart and it's
Mhm.
so good for this time period and this style. So I think it just flows a little bit better with this than it does for some of his other movies. But yeah, writing's good, acting's incredible. There's a couple like improv pieces that I'm sure we'll talk about.
Mhm.
But yeah, other than that, I you hit the nail on the head. It's pretty much a big recommend from anybody that calls himself a movie buff.
Yeah, I guess I'll talk a little bit now.
Popcorn Nathaniel.
And I think this is in some ways Tarantino's most complete film. He's from the soundtrack to the editing to the casting to the writing to the directing. It feels like he really had this vision for this and this idea. Everything kind of coalesced together, even to the point of kind of, we'll talk about it later, but how the plot unfolds,
Mhm.
particularly for the Jamie Foxx character Django. Obviously, if you're in film or have kind of a familiarity with spaghetti westerns, the character of Django is kind of from lore. It used to be an old Italian man who makes a cameo appearance in this. So having it, giving it the Tarantino twist of Django as this freed slave and everything is obviously a view on that. For me, it's like people talk about Pulp Fiction, people talk about, your Reservoir Dogs and stuff. And while those are important and definitely change the game, in terms of quality, I don't think Tarantino's ever quite hit the trifecta of Inglourious Bastards, Django, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Like all three of those films, I think, are just kind of what going to be his lasting legacy, for sure. Of the two cowboy movies, I love this. I like this movie way more than Hateful Eight. We could talk about that another time, but
Without a doubt, for sure.
I would agree.
I agree with that.
100%.
But
There's only one other Western that I like as much as this movie.
What is it?
I want to see. I don't even think you would. I don't know if you would know what this is. I don't know. I
Is
know
it-
Adam probably wouldn't know.
is it Back to the Future 3?
No, that's terrible. I'll kill you.
is it Unforgiven?
No, it's not.
No,
Open
I'm
Range.
curious.
It's Tombstone.
Logan.
Nah,
Tombstone.
I'm not even familiar with that.
Yeah,
Okay.
dude, Tombstone's like
Tombstone's dope.
old school. Tombstone's so good. But it's like an old school Western. It's Kurt
Right.
Russell. Is that Val Kilmer?
Yeah, that's Val Kilmer.
From 93. Does that sound right?
Yeah, it's on there.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
But yeah, that's one of my other favorite westerns. That's a movie that like my dad or like early introduced to me. Like
For
he did
sure,
like
for sure.
Backdraft and like Twister and everything like that. So yeah, I'm a big fan of Tombstone, and this was probably one of the only westerns that I got like captivated by.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, a big old recommend for me for sure. We'll talk about it more later, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But
So I think that's 4 recommends all around. I expected it no other way.
recommend.
Yeah.
Of course.
I mean, even just real quick, looking at this thing on IMDb, and then I guess it's not even spoiler, but just looking at the rating of this, and I saw the rating, I was like, holy shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like, it's not that surprising to me, but
It's
I was
not,
like, that's a pretty high rating right there on IMDb.
If you dislike this movie, you're a troll.
For sure. For sure.
Fact.
Or a white supremacist.
Sure.
That's very well plausible as well.
Well, it's one or the other. You're either a troll or a white supremacist. There's no in between.
I was going
There's
to
no
say
nuance on the
you're-
internet.
If you're a white supremacist, you're kind of a troll.
That's true too.
I would agree with that as well.
I guess.
I don't-
Okay.
I'm gonna say it. I don't like them. I don't like white supremacists.
I'm going to go on record and say it.
If you're a white supremacist,
I'm denouncing.
you're
My
a
name
dick.
is Tyler Vidalis, and I'm denouncing white supremacy.
Oh, that's funny.
I'm gonna
I
make
mean,
a
I
crazy
also have
call
to
there.
announce white supremacy because if I don't, it's gonna look like I endorse it. So I'm Adam Schwartz, and I also don't condone white supremacy.
All right, now that we got that out of the way.
Yeah, so spoilers. I mean, is
Yeah,
there
let's get into
we're-
spoilers here really
what's
quick.
the-
So,
Spoiler time.
yeah,
Do you
we're
want
moving to spoilers?
Well, do you want to get into the rest of the plot?
Sure. Yeah. So if you don't want this movie
We didn't
spoiled for you,
really talk
which
about that a
I,
whole lot.
if you don't want this movie spoiled for you, which I would highly recommend not spoiling it for yourself if you have not seen it, go give it a watch. But if you don't want it spoiled, check the description where I'll have the timestamp for the spoiler or the end of the spoiler segments. You'll be taken to where we rank on our entropy list. So we'll see you then. Nathaniel, why don't you give those who are still listening a quick full spoiler plot summary here?
Yeah,
Just fill
so
in the gaps a little bit.
yep, Django meets Dr. Schultz while Django is still a slave. Dr. Schultz frees him and pays for him basically, and then starts to teach him how to be a bounty hunter once he hears that Django's wife, played by Kerry Washington, is still enslaved. So they set out on kind of a quest together, and wouldn't you know it, Django's real good at shooting people.
He's
So-
real good at shooting people.
So they eventually track his wife to the plantation owned by Leonardo DiCaprio, aka Calvin Candy, and there they reach kind of a climactic. They have a plan going in on how they're going to kind of spirit away Django's wife and get away scot-free. Unfortunately, as these things do, it does go awry, resulting in Dr. Schultz's death as well as Calvin Candy's death, which I thought was fascinating too. And then so the last kind of 30 minutes of the movie is Django going back to get his wife, who is still enslaved at the plantation, and now kind of dealing with the remnants of this plantation that is now leaderless. And it ends in a big old bloodbath. as most Tarantino movies do.
Yeah,
Um,
you're spot on with that.
but yeah, what do you guys want to talk about more? Is there something that stuck out? I found this film like has aged well, but like I'm much more sensitive to how aggressively racist all of the white characters are in this now
Right,
than I
right.
Yeah.
was in 2012 when it came out, for sure.
Right. That's the only thing that I could probably see being offsetting for most people, just because the climate we're in today as a society as well. Like this movie has a ton of N-words in it, right? But it makes
Yeah.
sense. It's a movie having to do with times of slaves, right?
And like
Um,
torture
For
and
sure.
gruesome deaths.
For sure. Excuse me,
Yeah.
I yawned. But yeah, so
you're good.
I like it though. I mean, there's I think you guys hit on the head. There's just a ton of quotables, man. This movie should not be as funny as it is. And this movie
Yeah.
is so funny to me. Even from the Jonah Hill scene, that's funny. Where he's in
Yeah.
there
Oh my God,
and,
it's really
and
Yeah.
they're
Yeah,
arguing about
especially
like the
small
bags on their
cameo.
head. Yeah.
yeah.
That's
The
one of
mask scene is one. Yeah, we go ahead. You say it because we're
that's
gonna
one
say
of
the
the
same thing.
funniest written scenes in the last 15 to 20 years.
No, for
Like
sure.
the idea of Klansmen like arguing with each other about holes in the bag, and the
Yeah.
one guy's, my wife got 30 bags
Yeah,
and
yeah,
cut
yeah.
holes in
All
her.
I hear is
you
criticize,
assholes.
criticize,
It
criticize.
is
Yeah.
so funny. It is so funny, and you
incredible.
feel weird laughing at it, but it's one of the most hysterical themed like comedy ever. Tarantino understands his villains just about as well as anyone
Mhm.
writing today. That's what I think sets him apart in a lot of ways. In that, a good villain doesn't think they're wrong, and B, like, is also, they are not just their evil selves. You understand their relationship with other people. You understand why they feel sad or why they be protective
Well,
or why
yeah,
other
he humanizes them
care
so
about
well.
them. Yeah, and I think that's what he understands in this more than anything. And he just happens to get very charismatic actors play them a lot. So it's
For sure.
Christoph
That
Waltz
helps a
and
ton.
Inglourious Bastards. It's
Mhm.
Leonardo DiCaprio here. These people that you are mentally prepared to make, like, you want them to like you generally. They're
Mhm.
still they're the most despicable people in the world, but you can understand why people around them would be kind of caught up in their spell and that kind of thing too. So it's
Mhm.
very, very it's just an incredibly well made movie. It is how it is at the end of the day. um I think acting wise, Jamie Foxx gives a really, really good performance. I think
Mhm.
he's not quite given as much juice as Christoph Waltz or Leonardo DiCaprio, and I think people could, rightfully make some criticisms of that, for sure, considering that's still going to be your main character. But that is the role he's playing, and you
I
understand
would,
everything.
yeah, I was gonna say I would just argue that like, he was definitely told to be as stereotypical as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I just think it's there's still a valid take on that as well too, of just having some issue with that in some ways. But I think he's incredible in it. I think Kerry Washington's very, very great in it. Originally this film was going to be Will Smith, but
I'm so fucking glad.
he turned this down to do After Earth, which is shocking to me.
That's shocking as well.
Wow.
But I'm glad that's not Will Smith instead
Wow.
of Jamie Foxx. I'll
I
tell
think
you
he
that.
got it. I think he
You
could have pulled
know,
it off though.
I think so too. I think
Mhm.
there are some lines that Django was given that I think had Will Smith delivered them differently, or and I don't know, maybe with more
Yeah,
personality,
yeah.
because
I could see that.
we keep talking about how all these characters and actors have so much personality and charisma, and that is
Mhm.
Will Smith, and that's
Mhm.
not necessarily Jamie Foxx. And I agree with Nathaniel. I think he did a good job with what he was given, but I would be really interested to see what a Will Smith Django would have looked like.
I feel like if Will Smith would have taken this, I would have just been watching The Wild Wild West again, and it would
Mhm.
totally,
For
totally
sure.
throw me off.
Yeah, I think you do run that risk a little bit whenever Will Smith's in a role. It's kind of like, okay, it's Will Smith doing this, whereas this you do get to like understand the character of Django. But I do kind of similar to Aisha. I'm very, very happy with this, and I love this portrayal. But I would have been interested at least to see what that would have been like
Mhm.
in some ways. But
We should call for a reshoot.
yeah, there you go. And
What did you guys think of? I'm sorry. Go ahead, man. I didn't mean to cut you
oh,
off.
it's good. I was gonna actually toss over to you because Blake like kind of alluded to it earlier, but Samuel L. Jackson in this is absolutely incredible.
In
as
the
the
That's
threat
what
of
I was
evil.
about to ask. What do you guys think of his character? Because to me, I mean, he's damn near more of the villain than Leonardo DiCaprio to me.
And,
You know
and
what I mean?
yeah, and
When
that's
you
kind
sit
of
down
what
and
you
dissect
end
it.
up with.
Yeah, no, I think that's part of the point. Is that he's he's a black caretaker who is kind of in between slave and
Right.
master in some ways. He's
Right.
He's
he's
bought in.
being but yeah, exactly. He's being oppressed, but at some points being the oppressor, and you kind of go back and forth between that. And he plays it very well, and I think it's a very interesting and well written character.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that, man. It's and even he has lines. It's just funny. It's like that's like your stereotypical like Uncle Tom type thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's really good. The scene, obviously, when Leonardo DiCaprio gets shot and then he falls into Samuel Jackson's hands and he just cries. Like that scene is just a really funny scene where Tarantino is just really good at portraying some of those things.
Yeah,
But
he
yeah,
understands that violence in film is often really close to slapstick comedy,
for
and
sure,
he definitely plays that
100%.
in this.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like I said, I can't talk about this movie. This is probably I would probably go on record to agree with Nathaniel. This is my favorite Tarantino movie. I would say Kill Bill's a close second, though. I do love the first Kill Bill. I would say that. Um, but yeah, man, I think I'm taking this over Inglourious Bastards, Reservoir Dogs, all those films. I think I'm putting this over.
Inglourious Basterds is a tough one to put this over for me. I just love
I was
that
gonna
movie so
say
much.
that's probably the big split for me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can go for a little bit, but I mean, there's not too much to be said that already hasn't been said. I mean, all around this movie is just so fantastic. I think
Mhm.
the 2 points that do it for me are definitely the acting and the writing, which go hand in hand for sure.
Mhm.
And I think that's just what you get in a Tarantino film because he has the notoriety to get these big name actors, as Nathaniel alluded to before.
Mhm.
But it's also he's one of the better writers in Hollywood right now, and that just shows in how tight everything is, how good of a picture you get of all of the characters with their given lines. Like he never really wastes a line.
Mhm.
I mean, you could argue that some of the yeah, I'm gonna stick with that. He never really wastes a line, and even the comedic scenes, they do something for the
Oh,
movie
for
that
sure.
just makes it way more enjoyable. Because there were some scenes or some lines that felt out of place or could have been removed from the movie, but they're not, and I'm totally okay with that.
Mhm.
And I think that just goes to show how good of a movie this is. That there is some fat that could have been trimmed off, and in a 2 hour and 45-minute movie, most of the time I would be upset with that and say, "Hey, you need to cut this out. Maybe you don't need this part." But everything in this, I am not upset about,
Yeah.
and I am totally okay with it being this long.
Soundtrack for me is another big thing that's not talked about a ton with this film. I think
Mhm.
it's really, really well done.
I thought that there were some songs that were out of place. There was some more like hip hop and kind of weirder song choices that I
Talk about the Rick Ross song and then the
yeah
rock.
Which I think is
yeah.
one of the greatest.
Yeah, I actually think that Rick Ross songs like fits this really well.
I think
I,
it's so good.
I think it fits, but it was just for me it was an interesting choice to go with more modern music in some scenes
Right,
in
right,
a
right, right.
in a historical setting.
I can
Yeah,
see
I
that.
mean, I think it comes from its roots in the spaghetti western genre. So
Sure.
that's why you have the Ennio Morricone like score in the background, or Morricone. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. My Italian's not the best. And so you have the strings and the drum beats and everything that goes into it. And then I think it just ties in a little bit more with where this movie is set and what its kind of overall goal is too, that he drops in those tracks as well a little bit. I think personally, I think they're meshed pretty well. I can understand where they feel somewhat genre breaking in a certain way, but
Mhm.
for me, I feel like they line up pretty well overall.
Yeah. And while we're on the comedy part and just scenes I find funny, and I totally forgot to even bring it up earlier, but even the scene where Dr. Schultz and Django, they're going to, I forgot what plantation they went to, but nonetheless, it's with I think the guy's name is Big Daddy, right? And Dr.
Mhm.
Schultz is first explaining him to, okay, well, this is a free slave. You can't treat him like anybody else. Then
Right.
he's trying to explain that to his slaves. And then she's like, okay, so do you want me to treat him like a white man? And he's like, well, no, you can't treat him like that.
Yeah.
That's not
And
what
that
it said.
scene is, yeah, that's hilarious every time, man. I love this movie, man. There's no way around it.
Yeah, I think it handles slavery and that whole topic. Like, it's such a big topic, but I think it handles it pretty well. And Nathaniel alluded to it earlier with the talks of the violence and stuff, but it's very grounded or the talks of the guns as well, and the gore. But it's very grounded in what things were like back then, and it
For sure.
gives you a real good visualization of how things were back then. And it as fucked up as that is, this
Mhm.
movie does that really well.
Yeah, and it's good just from an African American and Black perspective. It's just cool to see something like that. So like, who doesn't want to see like a gun-toting slave, right? So many of these movies you see where it's obviously much more accurate to what slavery is,
Mhm.
but sometimes you want to at least be able to like escape that reality and see something else. So it's like very satisfying to see a movie like this where
Oh,
it's
he
not
even
just
says it. He's like, "You get paid money to kill white people."
Yeah, right, right.
Yep.
So why wouldn't I
It's great. Another great line.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what? Fair.
Yeah. It sounds like a dream job for a slave.
Right. So yeah, man, this is a good movie. And then when I saw that IMDb score, I mean, I wasn't necessarily surprised, but I was like, that's awfully high. So I think it's going to be interesting to put this thing on the Entropy list. I think it
Yeah.
might be a major mover.
We talked a lot about the actors and the acting in this movie. Who would you say is your guys' favorite performance in this movie?
Ooh. I'll let somebody else go first.
Nathaniel, you said you.
I'm
Just go ahead. Go ahead, Ty.
I was just gonna stick with Christoph.
Yeah, I that's what I was about to say. I think you and Nathaniel are probably set on Christoph, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough one for me, man.
I know. Yeah, it is tough.
Yeah. Leo does good too, though.
That's what I mean. I was leaning towards Leo. I think
Yeah.
Leo's
And that's
fantastic.
not
in this.
usually like
Leo's
a role
incredible,
you would
man.
see him in, you
Mhm.
know?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
he's better. I think he's better in this than he is in The Revenant, which is what he won.
Oh,
for.
agreed.
For sure.
100. Yeah, I was gonna bring that
For
up as
sure.
well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this was in the time where, again, like, it is hard to describe if you weren't there because Christoph Waltz has become so iconic so quickly. But like, that character for him was just so out of left field in the thing, and because it's like, it almost goes back to like this almost Greek level of theater where there's like this one character who kind of descends from the heavens. It's called a Deus Ex Machina, and it translates as like the hand of God, basically. And
Mhm.
it's just the character that comes in that can't really be touched in some ways. Like, they're a good person, but they're too good, or like they're that next level of like they're in between like a god and a person. And I think
Right.
he functions as a lot of that because he drives in forward in this, he frees Django, like that kind of thing.
Mhm.
And then to have that killed off is just such
Yeah,
a
he also-
fascinating
Yeah.
writing. But and he just plays it so well, and it encapsulates him so well.
Yeah, because he's the one that gets out of all these situations. You find him multiple times throughout the movie,
Right.
able to work out of these complex situations where, like, what the hell? How are they going to get out of this? But he always
Mhm.
finds a way to either talk his way out or find some kind of solution.
Mhm.
So you're right.
And,
Nathaniel.
and he's the audience perspective in some ways. He's the wood white character in the whole thing.
Right.
That, and the fact that he's foreign is probably part of that. They pretty much
Mhm.
address that pretty early on. But if you had told me that at the start of this film it's going to be this German crusade quest to find a German speaking slave, I would never in a million years have believed that. But it takes a mind like Tarantino to come up with something like this, or to put this lens on it in that way. So
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think I'm gonna, because then you think about Samuel L. Jackson, and then it's just like, oh man, I would probably give it to Leo, but there's just so many great performances that it's hard.
Yeah, I think Samuel's performance is really, really good, and I think if he would have been in more of this movie, I'd
sure.
probably give it to him.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
the
he
fact
should-
that there
He
are
only shows
2
up in the last
hours
third,
that
I would say.
basically happens before him,
Mhm.
and then we get him for like the last 45. it's a bit of a shame, but you have to. He does a good job at
Yeah.
telling you where the story came from and what it did, and honestly, 245 is a pretty short time span to put this big of a story in.
Sure.
Well,
and yeah,
go
go ahead.
ahead. No, you finish.
I was just gonna go back to my Christoph Waltz obsession. I think his dialogue is so clever, and you guys are right. He just talks his way out of every simple situation, major situation. It's just so smart. It's so detailed in the way that he talks. He explains everything, and
Yeah.
you could literally sit here and just listen to him talk and understand what is happening in the scene. So yeah, I think he does an incredible job in this film,
Yeah.
and that's who I'd give it to.
I was just gonna say, I think something you mentioned is that Samuel L. Jackson is only on screen for like 45 minutes, maybe an hour, but we're still talking about him for like best performance.
Yeah,
in
yeah,
the entire
absolutely.
movie.
He killed it, man.
Because you guys keep saying Christoph Waltz, he definitely has the most screen time, I would say, because he's there from beginning to the end, or at least close to the end. So I think the fact that Samuel L. Jackson gets an hour of screen time compared to the 2 hours and we'll say 30 minutes that Christoph Waltz gets, I think it's impressive that he gets that much done in that little time.
Nathaniel's gone.
Oh, he's back.
Oh, okay, he's back.
Yeah, we're gonna figure out one of these
with you
days what
guys
happened.
that, yeah, dude, I can't say enough about this movie. Like I
Yeah,
said,
I
same
can't
here.
either, man.
I haven't
It's
seen
just-
it in a while, and yeah, it's still funny. The only thing though, it is just long as fuck.
It was
really
really
is.
long.
This
It was
movie is
really
very
hard.
long.
Yeah.
I felt it this time. It is when you
100%.
feel, but you kind of like you come out of it and you're like, okay, that was worth it though.
Right,
Um,
right.
Oh, it
because
was
you know
so
what
worth
the
it.
ending is, or I guess
I
Adam
didn't. Yeah.
no. But yeah, like I'm watching, I'm like, oh, I know this movie's long, and then they finally get to Candyland, and I'm like, okay, this is the end. And then you look, and I'm like, there's still 40 minutes left, and I'm like, holy
so
shit,
much. Yeah.
yeah,
I paused it around the time they get to Candyland, and I was like, "Oh my
Yeah.
god!"
yeah, dude, there's still 45 minutes left to go.
yeah.
It's long.
Hey,
but
but I loved every
I'll
minute.
take it. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, man, it's a powerful movie. Like from the time where he tells him he can pick out his own outfit, like this
Right.
bright blue white
Yeah.
socks, like it's just it just shows that like he knows that he wants to stand out. And it's super powerful, especially coming from like what slavery was at that time.
Right.
And then you get to the flashback and even the present time when they get to the first plantation and he's looking for the Brittle brothers. Big John has like Bible pages like stapled to his chest. And like he like thinks he's in the right, and then that's like when he shoots him in the chest, and you can kind of see that it's like a Bible page and he's reading it before he tries to, whip this slave. I think we already brought up the mass scene.
Yeah.
First and foremost, the fact that Django can make that kind of shot for his first long rifle shot is ridiculous.
The guy's a marksman.
Machina, man. So I'm telling you, Schultz is taking care of him there.
It's wild. He's got to be like 150 yards out on a slightly modified iron sight with a gun that he's never shot before on a target that's moving probably like 20 miles an hour. It's wild, but it's incredible.
I would say someone pulling off a shot like that for the first ever shot is damn near impossible.
100%.
Yeah, you're probably
yeah. I
He's
also
a
think
natural, man.
He is a natural.
I guess
Which
a natural.
if you
physics.
play it out, because here's a fun film theme for you guys. So the Tarantino universe is broken up into films that are set in the Tarantino universe. So the kind of ground rule for the Tarantino verse is that it takes place in a universe that is slightly more violent than our own. And then there are certain films of Tarantino's like genre or his grouping that are films that are set in that universe. And then there's other movies that just exist in that universe. So like in this movie you see Kerry Washington's, and by kind of association Django's last name is said to be Von Shaft, which is then like tied down to the Shaft that Samuel Jackson plays. So it's implied that they're like his like great grandparents.
Oh,
And then
That's
like other
hilarious.
characters tie in and stuff like that. And there's certain ones like
Oh, we should also probably mention. I'm sorry. I'll finish. I'll let you
No,
finish.
yeah, that's it. But yeah, it's just kind of one of those things where Tarantino just does this because he can, basically, and it's fun that there are these
Connections.
yeah, between everything, basically.
No, I'd never even heard that before. That's
Yeah.
pretty cool though, for sure.
Tarantino puts himself in this movie.
Yeah,
He
doing the
does.
worst Australian
And he
accent of all
blows.
time.
Yeah, it's very bad, and he blows himself up.
Yeah.
And he also looks directly at the camera at one point.
Yep.
When he's reaching the saddlebag, just straight up, not even subtle about it. Doesn't do another take. Just straight up looks at the camera. It must have been intentional. It really must have been.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
So let's rank this guy.
I thought that was funny. Yeah, I was about to say, let's get to the entry list here. Let's give a
Hold
welcome
on,
back to our listeners.
Sorry,
Oh.
I just want to bring up one more thing.
All right.
Because I didn't know this was your first time until you just said it earlier.
Sure.
But I'm pretty sure the scene in the house where Leo rubs his blood on
I
Kerry
heard this.
Washington's. Yeah, so I wanted to make sure you knew this little thing because and if you haven't really done a whole lot of research on it, you probably really haven't heard it. But
someone I was watching with, or someone came into the room when that scene happened, because I was watching it in here, and then when we got to Candyland, two of my buddies came in and finished the movie with us. So,
Okay.
yeah, someone mentioned that how he was.
Yeah,
he
so
really cut
he
his
actually
hand.
cuts his hand, and then he
Mhm.
actually like rubs his blood on Kerry Washington's face.
Yeah,
So
crazy, man, crazy.
yeah,
Stuff he does.
wild. I love
Wild
little
stuff.
tidbits like that, though.
Oh, me
I
too.
can't
Yeah, yeah.
imagine how Kerry Washington felt in the moment.
I can't imagine how Leo's hand felt in the moment. I'm sure that was hurting, and he just kept going.
All right, bring him back in.
Yeah, let's bring back our listeners here. For those of you who skipped the spoiler segment, we're now going to be ranking Django Unchained on our Entropy list here. For those of you who do not know, the Entropy list is Back Row Banter's official list of every movie we have reviewed, regardless of genre, all on one fantastic list. If you'd like to view the Entropy list, it is in the episode description here. It's on my Letterboxd, so give it a little look if you're wondering the context of where we're gonna put the Django Unchained. But I'll throw it over to Pumpkin Pie Ty. Where are you putting this, man?
I think this probably goes at number 4, just under Pan's Labyrinth for me. I really want to put it at number 2 because I think it's better than The Arrival, but I really, 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 really love Pan's Labyrinth.
Yeah. Who wants to follow that up?
I'll do it because I'm upset. I'm putting it at number 2. I think this puts Arrival to shame in some ways.
I'm upset. It's 2 spaces down.
Yeah. I'm upset it's still in the top 5. Yeah, no, I would put this at number 2. I think this is a way better movie than Arrival. Not that I don't like Arrival a lot, and I think it's still. I mean, again, we have our personal list, and we can debate where each individual movie should have gone here or there. But overall, I think this is a better movie than Arrival, and I think number 2 is a perfect spot for it on this list when you look at it as a whole. Nathaniel?
I had a 2 as well.
Oh, there we go.
Overall, yeah. I mean, like we said countless times, our personal lists are going to be way different than this. But I just keeping in like where I think the group is going to put it and where it makes sense for me to have this on here. I think we have it at number 2 for me. For basically exactly what Adam said, it's beats Arrival in my opinion, but it's below The Shining and just by a bit, but just a bit. You know, there's still things. You know, this is a movie that is another one of those examples of like a great example of something. You know, Tarantino hasn't like broken new ground necessarily in camera work or storytelling or anything, but he's brought in 2 genres that don't necessarily always mesh and found kind of more of an unexplored area of the Western genre in this kind of Southern cowboy, you know, like your Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama, Southern Western rather than what's typically, you know, Arizona, Utah, Colorado, that thing. So yeah, number 2 for me.
Yeah, man. I'll go ahead and go last and follow it up. I'm pretty much spot on with you guys. I have it at number 3, so I would put it behind
Number 3.
Arrival.
A bit behind Arrival.
And
Okay.
above Pan's Labyrinth. Yeah, I just think it's tough. So I mean, I tried to explain to one of my friends how we kind of rank the entropy list, and you can go on to how the public perceives things, kind of your personal opinions on it. Has it brought anything new? Like, there's so many moving components.
Would you recommend it? Yeah,
Really
there's so many things you can factor in, and
Right.
that's the beauty of the entropy list is that we factor kind of all of them in.
For sure.
From
You
4
gotta
different
kinda
people
come
too.
to an answer. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I mean, that's where I would go. I would put it behind Arrival. I think Arrival is just a little bit more innovative in the long run, specifically for the sci-fi genre. Like I said, every time we kind of talk about it, it's the ability of having this sci-fi and having aliens in there, but they're not necessarily harming. Is I feel like that's almost infinite to me. You know what I mean? That's really hard for me to go against because so many times you see those sci-fis and aliens are trying to take over the world or something like that.
Mhm.
True.
So yeah, I would go ahead and put it behind Arrival, but by no means would I be upset to compromise and put it at 2, 4, whatever. We obviously all have this movie ranked really high. So I think it's going to come down to an IMDb rating, which
Yeah, are we tie breaking
Tough.
this? Is that what's gonna happen?
well, I
'Cause
mean,
I
I
think-
guess I'm at 3 though. Ties at 4, right? You guys
Yep.
are at 2.
The
I guess
compromise, I
technically
guess,
middle
would be
ground is
3.
3 would be me.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I don't know how I feel about this below Arrival. I guess I could stomach it, but Nathaniel, where are you coming down here?
It's certainly
Uh,
rated higher than Arrival though, for sure.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, so if that's the case, right? It's between 2 or 3. Then we do a tiebreaker between what 2 and 3 are.
Well, then I think Django has that. I
Right.
don't think,
Exactly. So then it can go where you
well,
want.
let me just confirm. I don't. You never know. Arrival might have some cult following or something.
Nah, I
Django's
think
got an
Arrival's like
8.4.
yeah. This is probably gonna be
And
the highest
Arrival has a
rating around there.
7.9. That's way closer than I thought it was gonna be. But yeah, I think Django at number 2 is gonna end up being what happens. Are you guys okay with that?
Yeah, I'm totally fine with that.
Fantastic.
I'll go with
Well,
that.
I pressed save, everybody, so it's official. Django is now slotted in at number 2. Cannot dethrone The Shining. We'll have to wait
They
and
got
see.
the same
what does.
IMDb rating. They're both
Do they?
8.4.
Oh, how
there you
would we
go.
have tie broken
So
that?
yeah,
I
that would
mean,
have
More
Whoa.
votes, I
tough.
suppose.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Life is a simulation.
Yeah.
We should just change our name to the podcast. Life
Yeah.
is simulation.
So Django has more
That's what we
votes.
should have
So,
named the podcast.
Django has more votes. So yeah, I think
yeah,
then
so it
it
would
would-
have gone
in
one.
the event of that, we would have had to
Yeah.
give it to Django.
Yeah. And actually, so kind of going back through here and looking at all the IMDb ratings, and looking at the entropy list just real quick to see what would probably have the highest one. The only one I could think of that'd be higher just looking at it was Inception, and Inception's at 8.8.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, people forget when Inception came out, internet nerds went nuts.
Yeah, that's like
Mhm.
groundbreaking.
My brain went nuts.
And I think that's, that might be the highest rated one on there still. Like,
I
it's,
would
I would
after
assume
seeing
so.
that, that's really high.
Yeah, that is really high.
I was surprised when I saw it.
American
8.4.
Pickle.
if it's not that, it's Shawshank. It's always Shawshank.
Let's see. Just for some after hours.
American Pickle for life, bro.
What do you think the IMDb rating on that thing is?
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
it's
sure it's
Sh-
abysmal.
Shawshank.
I'm sure it's abysmal.
Shawshank
at
Redemption
9
is 9.3. Jesus.
9.2, yeah.
Christ.
Yeah. So for reference, oh my god. Wow, it's way down there. We got a lot of movies on the IMDb list.
Yeah, man, we're building it up. I'm happy. I keep scrolling down, and I'm just happy that we've gotten this far. So can't wait to grow more, man.
So this finally bumped Hereditary out of the top 5, didn't it?
No, it's
I put it
number
at
5
5?
now. Put it at 5.
Because I'm going to have
Yeah.
to try to stand that for a very long time, fellas.
So
Yeah.
Inception at an
Yeah.
8.7 is
I said it, man. I wanted it number. What did I say? 2 or 1?
You said 1, dude. And
Yeah, I wanted it.
That was I love you. I thoroughly felt that way.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, that's...
We'll
that's
have to do. I
aggressive.
think
I
either
should've pushed
for
that
our
a
like
little
1 year
higher.
episode. I think for a 1 year episode, we're gonna have to do an episode where we give our personal lists.
that's fine.
And
Our
see if
personal
they
entropy
compare.
list.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
sure. Or at least a top 5 of the personal entry list or whatever. You know what I mean? Or-
Well, yeah, or maybe the ones that we would change or we're most upset
For
about or
sure.
something. Yeah.
For sure.
Well,
Alrighty, folks.
let's head towards the end here. Do we have a 5-star review, Nathaniel?
We don't have a review, but we do have a YouTube comment.
Do we?
Yep.
Do you
So
have
this
the
is
YouTube
off
comment?
I do. This is off the
Okay.
Borat subsequent movie film we did last week, and it's from the Waz. So he says, "Lemon Supreme Pie is the best. Also, we missed Back Row Baker Pie down." So there you go. A shot across the bow from our boy Waz. Wanting to know what was I say? Lemon pie.
And stay tuned for our next podcast, Back Row Baker.
The spinoff, Lemon Supreme Pie. I don't know. I've never been a big lemon pie. Hey, whatever floats your boat or bakes your pie.
Or actually, I don't know where I was gonna go with that one. You had too good of a one with bake your pie that I couldn't come back.
Man.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
Too good, man. I'm just gonna concede.
Thanks.
Yeah. Well, we also don't have any emails, so we're gonna skip that one there. But
not even for Miles.
No, not even for Miles.
Damn it, Miles.
Son of a
his management has said they're going to postpone the interview until after COVID's over.
Makes sense.
Yeah, they said they don't. They said he can't download Discord.
He's probably got
it. Yeah. Our next topic has been undecided.
Sounds about right.
Once again, so Postpod Adam will be joining us once again right about now. What's up, listeners? It's your favorite host, Postpod Adam here. We decided that we're going to go ahead and watch Whiplash for next week's episode. It is my favorite movie of all time, so I'm actually very excited. And it is streaming on Tubi. If you do not have access to that movie, it's free there with ads. So go ahead, give that a watch, and join us next week for Whiplash.
Thanks, bud.
And let's make like a Southern cowboy and ride off into the sunset here.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Did you guys want to just discuss in the group chat later what day we want to?
We'll figure it out.
What movie we want to do? Yeah, we can discuss the movie.
We'll figure that out after we record.
My brain's cooked. It's 10:30.
Yeah. All right,
boys. Yeah, good episode.
I'm
just gonna show the podcast plugs.
I was gonna say we got to do our outros.
Shit, we're still recording. Okay, yeah, I totally forgot about that.
We just lost.
I was
Blake disconnected there.
Yeah, I almost did, dude.
I was just gonna say how excited I am
cool
for whatever episode we decide, or for whatever movie we decide to watch. I'm just so excited.
Always.
Yeah. Always. Well, please share the podcast, everybody. We would love to grow, and we cannot do so without some help from our dear listeners. So share it with a friend, a family member, a bounty hunter, or a free slave.
Yeah, if you find any of those running around, let us.
You should.
I would hope you can find some of those running around. Hopefully, nobody is enslaved.
I was gonna say, if you find somebody who is enslaved, please free them and call for help.
Yeah, right. Please.
Be a Schultz in a world full of candy. Be a Schultz.
Yeah.
Oh, I never even thought about that. It's Candyland, and Schultz is a dentist, and he's going there and like uprooting all the rotten like candy from
that's some next level thinking, dude.
Okay. I can't, I would have to ask Tarantino if that's what he truly meant, but I think that connection's there
for sure.
Yeah.
There you go, guys. Zinger on the outro.
He's cracked
Hopefully
the code.
You got this far.
He's cracked the code. If you want to follow the show, please do so on Twitter at Banter Row. On Instagram, it's just Back Row Banter Pod. Our YouTube is Back Row Banter. And if you want to contact us for any questions, concerns, comments, grievances, anything of that sort, please do so at backrowbanterpod@gmail.com. But BlakeHolder, man, where can the people find you at?
Letterboxd, man. So we'll be on there, logging some stuff. Don't know what next movie I'll actually do a formal review on. We'll kind of see once we chat with the fellas and see what we got lined up for the next few weeks. But Letterboxd, that's going to be BlakeHolder. That is me. And we'll go ahead and pass it on to Nathaniel. We'll spice it up today.
Ooh.
What up, gang? You can find me on Twitter and Letterboxd at NSGingrich, and you can also find me on Instagram at NathanielG92. Popcorn Adam.
I'm on Twitter. I'm at Schwartzy. That's, I believe, my Letterboxd. I need to figure out which one's my Letterboxd because sometimes it says my Letterboxd is Aish. Sometimes it says it's the same as my Twitter. I don't know. I need to figure that out. But find me on Twitter at Schwartzy. On Twitch, it's twitch.tv/Aish. I will be streaming at some point Friday and beyond. Probably Friday when COD launches. I will be, or at least I'm planning to be.
And beyond.
And beyond. Popcorn, pumpkin pie tie.
What's good? I do stream every now and then. That is El Trabajo 87, ELTRABAJO 87. That's twitch.tv. And then Insta, Letterboxd, and Twitter are all the same. It's Tyler Vidalis, VIDALES.
Fantastic. Well, that's been it for episode 25. We're all exhausted.
Another one in the can.
Another one in the feed. Well, join us next week for whatever post-pod Adam told you to watch. You can also check the description. I'll put it there as well. But without further ado,
I love that movie.
Yeah, me too, man. I'm so excited to watch it. You have no
Really
idea.
excited. So excited.
Yeah, please join us.
And scared.
Yeah, without further ado, we'll BRB.
Be excellent to each other, and we'll BRB.
Thank you guys so much for listening. Pass it on. I can't wait for Thanksgiving and just like mashed potatoes and being with my family. So tell somebody you love them. BRB.
Yeah, I can't think of anything clever today. Hopefully, I think of something next time, guys.
Hit the gym.
Yeah, be active. It's a nice week outside, whether it's walk a dog, anything, it's take advantage of some of the weather while it's still here because it's going to be snowing rather shortly. So, BRB.
I'm America. Ready for another lesson.
He's not recording, man. He's not recording.
Oh, Blake missed it. It's so sad.
He got the other one, though. He got the first one. You missed the first one, I think.
That dude is jacked. Jesus.
Blake? Yeah, man. Yeah. You don't realize it in his Best Buy uniform, but god damn.
I mean, he's an NFL level athlete, so I guess that makes sense.
An NFL level athlete. It does make sense, yeah. I aspire to be as big as Blake. I say as I drink my protein shake.
I was gonna say, it's gonna crack my bubbly here.